kingdom may require strategic partnerships and something as old-fashioned as knowing how to fight. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day number 4, the Torah portion, V'zot, haBracha. And this is the blessing. So we come to 3 more tribes today. We began in Deuteronomy, Devarim, chapter number 33, beginning with verse 18. And it says, "And of Zevu'lon he said, Rejoice, O Zevu'lon, in your going out, and Yissachar in your tents. They call peoples to the mountain. There they slaughter slaughterings of righteousness, for they draw from the riches of the seas and treasures hidden in the sands." A little cryptic, a little difficult to understand exactly what's being said here. But what is important for us to understand is that the brothers Zevu'lon and Yissachar are a team. They work effectively together. In a very general sense, Zevu'lon, his territory is located along the coastline. As such, he is of those that are wayfaring or seafaring, taking trips to other places. What's not widely known is that the peoples surrounding the Mediterranean Sea in this era of time were very limited in their seagoing. So you had those from, say, Greece and Italy and France, etc., those of the European nations that bordered the northern rim of the Mediterranean, then along the African sea coast, Cyprus and so forth, the little islands there in the Mediterranean Middle East area. The peoples, from what I've read, the peoples were willing to sail across the Mediterranean, which is in fact very, very large, from one coastline to the other, and trade among those Mediterranean states and nations was frequent. What wasn't very frequently taken on is to sail through the Straits of Gibraltar, along the coastlines, I think, of Spain, and go beyond the Mediterranean and sail out then into the oceans. The Phoenicians were willing to do so, and did so. During the reign of Solomon, Shlomo, they would go and bring back exotic animals and plant and flora. They presented exotic gifts from far countries and brought them along to pay tribute to Solomon. Being along the coastline, Zevu'lon very likely would have joined in with them, learned of their secret of getting through the Straits of Gibraltar, going on beyond the known lands of the Mediterranean. It could have happened. Did it happen? It could have happened. That now understood, they would have been a wealthy tribe, having gone and captured and taken wealth from other places and brought it back. Yissachar in his tents. Yissachar is a studious, should we maybe even say scientifically minded group of people known to study the stars, the heavens, the times, the seasons, calculating, understanding things that were difficult for others to take on. So the more scientific, mathematical minds were probably located within this tribe. Now, they had themselves situated along a very key trade route that went right down through the middle of the land of Israel. So they themselves could have been practitioners of trade, craftsmen that would have been able to come up with things that were needed to trade with, rich cattle lands. They were well situated along with Zevu'lon to fund themselves. But it would seem that as Zevu'lon went and became wealthy from other lands, that they also funded the intellectual pursuits of Yissachar. So they are a strategic partnership. influencing other nations. As Zevu'lon went into the other nations, they may have very well been able to carry the message that Abraham carried, and that is that there's only one true Elohim, and spread the news of the Torah, observing feast days and so forth, and teaching other peoples to do the same. So maybe even having a missionary-esque endeavor. Again, partnering with Yissachar, studying the times and the seasons, they would have known when it was most appropriate to sell and when not to. So, again, two brothers learning to take their qualities and their abilities and put them together and be better as a team than as individuals. This is well known in business circles the world over, that a team will outperform an individual every time. That now understood for us, let's us consider who it is that we need to partner with. One of the most strategic partnerships, obviously, then, is your spouse. Who is it that has gifting, qualities, enablings, anointings, focuses, skill sets that enhance what it is that you yourself are called to do, and vice versa? Who is it that needs you and needs what you're able to do? Who is it that makes up for your weakness, if you're willing to admit that you have one? And whose weaknesses is it that you can step in and help and assist and cause them to become stronger? This vital spousal relationship makes the two better than the individual. But there are also ministry opportunities. You may not feel like you're called to a prominent stand in front of a group style ministry. Your gifting may be behind the scenes. However it is that you're called and situated, there are people that make you better. I have learned over the years that there are people who do things differently than I do, who see things from a different angle than I do. They're not my competition. They're my assistants, and I'm theirs. It's better that when we discuss the different vantage points and perspectives that we have, that we function more keenly and we have a greater sum total than I hear struggling all by ourselves. So if you don't already have such partnership, pray and ask the Father, who is it that I am called to walk alongside of and agree on a destination with and get something strategically done, significantly done for your kingdom. And then we have the blessing that was given to Gad. Reading now in verse number 20, and of Gad he said, blessed is he who enlarges Gad. He dwells as a lion and shall tear off the arm, also the crown. One translation says he would scalp. And he chose the best for himself, for there the portion of the inscriber was hidden. And he came with the heads of the people, and the righteousness of Yahweh he did, and his right rulings with Israel. Now again, a lot of cryptic words here. Suffice it to say that Gad, as a lion, was also known as a troop. It would seem that he was just naturally designed to fight. It's interesting then that he, along with Reuben, were to go ahead of the other tribes to enter into their inheritance and receive what Yah had promised to them. Never been one myself to want to stand to fisticuffs and throw down. I've always been willing to try to talk my way out of something if possible. But there comes a time when there's nothing else to do but fight. Now, I am not advocating and don't want to be interpreted as doing so, the idea of some kind of insurrection or some kind of violence. But don't push people into corners. Because you may realize that the one standing in the corner with his back against the wall and nothing left to do will fight like a lion and will tear off your arm and scalp your head and leave you bald and bleeding. Don't push Yah's people. Don't press us. We know how to pray. And we have messengers who know how to fight for us while we fight for Yah. More tomorrow. Until then, shalom.